His hand was already sliding up my thigh when I realized he'd been lying to me for 400 miles. The safe house wasn't safe. The freedom he promised was a delivery. Me, gift wrapped in borrowed jeans and desperation, handed to a man who bought women like other people bought cars. Kade's phone glowed in the darkness. Package must be delivered by midnight. Package. That's what I was, what I'd always been. And the man whose bed I'd just left, whose name I'd gasped against salt-sticky skin an hour ago, was the one holding my leash. The knock came at the door, 3 sharp raps that sounded like a coffin closing. Viktor Sokolov's voice dripped through the wood. Rajesh said you'd have my delivery ready. I looked at Kade, at the man I'd trusted, at the only person who'd made me feel human in 26 years of being property. "Tell me you're not doing this," I whispered. He didn't answer. That's when I grabbed his gun. The garden smelled like jasmine and money, 2 things I was about to leave behind forever. I crouched behind my mother's prize roses at 2:47 a.m., wearing jeans for the first time in my life. They felt like rebellion. They felt like freedom. They felt wrong in all the right ways. Martin was late. The 50-year-old chauffeur I'd bribed with my mother's diamond tennis bracelet should have been here 13 minutes ago. Every second ticked like a countdown to my wedding, to Viktor, to becoming someone else's property with a different last name. Then I heard it. An engine, low and predatory. Not the soft purr of Martin's sedan. This was something else, something that prowled. A blacked-out Range Rover rolled up to the garden wall, windows tinted like midnight, armored. I could tell from the way it sat heavy on its wheels, like a tank pretending to be a luxury vehicle. The driver's door opened. Not Martin. He was tall, 6'3" easy, with locks tied back in a way that looked both careful and careless. Tactical gear hugged a body that moved like violence was its first language. Dark skin, darker eyes, and a face that looked like it had forgotten how to smile years ago. "You're not Martin," I whispered, panic flooding my chest. "Martin's in a holding cell." His voice was smooth, dangerous, with a Creole accent that turned words into weapons. "Immigration picked him up 2 hours ago. Funny timing." My throat closed. "I don't know you. I'm not getting in that car." He opened the back door, gestured like a perfect gentleman, the kind of gesture that made the threat worse. "Your father's men are 3 minutes out. Choose fast, princess." I heard them then. Voices, flashlights cutting through the dark. My father's security team, fanning out across the estate like hunting dogs who'd caught a scent. The stranger, this man who wasn't Martin, watched me with eyes that calculated everything. 2 minutes now. I looked at the house, my cage for 26 years. Then at the Range Rover, a different cage maybe, but at least it was moving. I ran. He caught my duffel bag as I threw it in, and I dove into the back seat. The door shut with a heavy click, the kind that said bulletproof, the kind that said, "You're not getting out." We pulled away smooth and silent. I tried the door handle. Child locked. "Unlock this, now." He glanced in the rearview mirror. Eyes met mine, black coffee and bad decisions. "You paid for a driver, I'm driving. I paid for freedom, you paid for survival. There's a difference." He accelerated and the engine didn't roar. It purred, like a predator that didn't need to prove anything. I pressed back against the leather seat, heart hammering. The interior was wrong. Too many modifications. Bulletproof glass. I could tell from the thickness. Reinforced panels. A concealed compartment where a normal glove box should be. What kind of chauffeur drives a tank? The kind who keeps spoiled girls breathing when they do stupid shit like run from daddy. Spoiled. He thought I was spoiled. Everyone did. They saw the designer clothes and the private schools and thought I'd never suffered. They didn't see the bruises my father's rings left. The way Viktor looked at me like I was dessert he'd already paid for. "Where's Martin?" I asked. "Told you. Immigration." "That's convenient, isn't it?" He took a turn onto the highway, heading south. Almost like someone made a phone call. My blood went cold. My father. Then you work for him?" "No, princess. I work for me." "Stop calling me that. My name is Priya." "Priya." He said it slowly, like he was tasting it. "Means beloved in Sanskrit, right?" I blinked. "You know Sanskrit?" "I know how to research a job." But there was something in his voice, something that said he was more than muscle and modified vehicles, something educated underneath the tactical gear. "What's your name?" I asked. "Kade." "Just Kade?" "For now." We drove in silence for 20 minutes. I watched Miami disappear behind us, lights fading into darkness. Highway 1 stretched ahead, the road to the Keys, the road to nowhere, the road to anywhere. I should have been terrified. I was terrified. But there was something else too, something that felt almost like hope. At 4:13 a.m., we pulled into a deserted gas station in Florida City. Fluorescent lights flickered like dying stars. Everything smelled like gasoline and desperation. "Bathroom break," Kade said. 2 minutes. I waited until he was looking at his phone. Then I ran. Made it 15 feet before his hand caught my waist, spun me around, pressed me against the Range Rover. The metal was warm from the engine. His body was warmer. "I'm not the enemy, Priya." His breath was on my neck, his hands spread across my stomach, protective and possessive at once. I could feel every place we touched, could feel my body betraying me, leaning into the heat of him. "Then why won't you let me go?" "Because the men coming for you will do worse than lock doors." I hated that I believed him, hated. More that when he stepped back, I felt colder. In the bathroom, disgusting, fluorescent, mirrors that showed me a stranger in commoner clothes. I saw the bruises. On my wrist, not from Kade, from my father's head of security who'd grabbed me earlier when I tried to leave my room. When I came back out, Kade was leaning against the Range Rover, watching the highway. He saw the bruises, said nothing. But when we got back in and drove away, he was gentler with the turns, smoother with the brakes. "There's water in the console," he said, "and protein bars. You should eat." "I'm not hungry." "Eat anyway." I pulled out a protein bar, chocolate chip, ate it in small bites while watching him drive. His hands were steady on the wheel, large hands, scarred knuckles, hands that had done things he probably didn't talk about. "How did you know Martin?" I asked. "I didn't." "Then how? Your father's not the only one with connections, Princess." "Priya." His mouth almost curved. "Priya." My phone buzzed. My father. I silenced it, buzzed again, silenced again. Kade reached over and turned it off completely. Didn't ask. Just did it. "Thank you," I whispered. He glanced at me. Something shifted in his expression. "You're welcome." That's when the first shots hit the Range Rover. The back window exploded, but didn't shatter. Bulletproof glass doing its job, spiderwebbing into 1,000 cracks, but holding. "Get down!" Kade shouted. I dropped to the floor of the passenger seat. My heart was everywhere. Throat, stomach, fingertips. Another vehicle had pulled up behind us, black sedan, tinted windows, not my father's security. Something worse. "Who is that?" I screamed over the sound of more gunfire. "Old friends." Kade's voice was cold now, professional. He accelerated, 90, 95, 100 miles per hour on a highway that wasn't meant for this. The sedan kept pace. More shots. One took off the driver's side mirror. Kade jerked the wheel, cut across 2 lanes, took an exit that appeared out of nowhere. The Range Rover handled like it was made for this, like running was its purpose. We lost them in the maze of streets near Homestead. Kade didn't slow down until we were 10 miles away, pulled off on a side road near the water. He was breathing hard. So was I. "You're bleeding," I said. He looked down. A bullet had grazed his shoulder, not deep but bleeding through his tactical shirt. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing." I grabbed my expensive silk scarf, the one thing I'd kept from my old life, and tore it, pressed it against his shoulder. He caught my wrist. "Priya, let me help." Our faces were inches apart. I could smell him, gun oil and something darker, something that made my stomach flip. "Who were they?" I asked again. "Cartel. I used to move shipments for them. Then I stopped. They don't handle rejection well." "You're a smuggler." "Was. Trying not to be." "What do you smuggle?" "Whatever pays." He looked at me. "Not people. I don't move people." "Until me. You're different." "How?" "You're not cargo, you're—" He stopped himself. "Let's get out of here." We drove for another hour. I watched the sun rise over the Everglades, all gold and pink and nothing like my father's estate in Miami Beach. This was wild, untamed, beautiful in a dangerous way. like the man driving. "Where are we going?" I asked. "South, then west, then gone?" That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got right now. My phone, still off, sat between us like a dead thing. I thought about my father, about Viktor, about the wedding dress hanging in my closet, white as a surrender flag. "I was supposed to get married tomorrow," I said. Kade's jaw tightened. "To who?" "Viktor Sokolov." The Range Rover swerved slightly. He corrected it. "The Russian." "You know him?" "I know of him. Kade stopped, started again. "He's not someone you marry. He's someone you escape from." "My father sold me to him to settle a debt." Kade's hands gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles going white. "How much?" he asked. "Does it matter?" "How much, Priya?" $3 million, plus a business merger that'll make my father another $20 million. I laughed, but it sounded broken. "Profitable wedding." "Jesus. I'm not asking for pity." "Good, because what I'm feeling isn't pity." "What is it?" He looked at me, really looked. Rage. Something in my chest cracked open. Nobody had ever been angry for me before, only at me. "Why do you care?" I whispered, still figuring that out. By dawn, we were stuck in hurricane evacuation traffic on 7 Mile Bridge, everyone fleeing north. We were the only ones going south, toward the storm instead of away from it. The partition between front and back seat felt like a class line. Him up front, me in the back, driver and passenger, hired help and pampered princess. I hated it. "Can I sit up front?" I asked. He glanced in the rear view, calculating. "Why?" "Because I feel like cargo back here." Long pause, then, "Okay." We pulled over. I climbed into the passenger seat. The space felt different, closer, more real. Traffic crawled. We had time, too much time. "Who hired you?" I asked. "Really?" "Client confidentiality, princess." Priya. He almost smiled, almost. "And I told you, I work for myself." Nobody works for themselves. Everyone works for someone. Philosophical for someone who's been property her whole life. I flinched. That's cruel. It's true. Truth can be cruel. "Welcome to my world." We sat in silence. Traffic didn't move. Hurricane warnings crackled on the radio. Category 3, moving in faster than expected. Everyone on the Keys needed to evacuate. We were driving deeper in. "You know this is insane," I said. "You hired me for insane. I hired Martin for cautious. Martin's in a cell. I'm here. Adjust your expectations. I don't even know you." "Sure you do." He turned to look at me, really look. "You know I drive a modified Range Rover with bulletproof glass. You know I used to run shipments for a cartel. You know I know Sanskrit and Viktor Sokolov's reputation. You know I could have handed you to your father's security at that gas station, but didn't." "Why didn't you?" "Because you said please when you asked for water. Nobody says please anymore." I didn't know what to do with that, with the idea that basic kindness was so rare, it changed someone's decisions. "What else do you want to know?" he asked. "Everything." "That's a long drive." "We've got time." So he told me. Pieces of himself, doled out like currency. Haiti, born in Port-au-Prince. Came to Miami at 15 with nothing but the clothes he wore and a phone number that stopped working 2 days after he arrived. Slept in a car for 6 months. Got recruited by a shipping company that wasn't exactly legal. Worked his way up from moving boxes to moving vehicles to moving things people didn't ask questions about. "Did you ever," I stopped myself, "kill someone?" "Yeah." "No, that was my line. I moved things. I didn't end things." "What's the difference?" "Everything." I told him about private schools where I had bodyguards instead of friends. About learning 6 languages because my father said it would make me valuable to his business partners. About my mother, who died when I was 12 and took all the softness out of our house with her. "I'm sorry," Kade said. "Don't be. She's free now." "Is that what you think death is? Freedom?" "Sometimes." He looked at me hard. "You thinking about dying, Priya?" "No, just thinking about living. Real living. Not the kind where someone else makes every choice." "That's what you're doing now. Is it? Or am I just trading one cage for another? You won't unlock the doors. You won't tell me where we're going. How is this different from my father?" "Because I'm asking if you're okay. Because I turned off your phone without you having to beg. Because..." He stopped, started again. "Because I see you. You don't know me. I'm starting to. Traffic started moving again. We drove in silence that felt less empty than before. At Islamorada, we needed to stop. Cartel scouts were checking gas stations, looking for the Range Rover. We needed to lay low, wait them out. There's a motel, Kade said, 2 miles east, nothing fancy. I don't need fancy. He laughed, actually laughed. You've never stayed anywhere that wasn't fancy in your life. Then I'll learn. The motel was exactly what he promised. Peeling paint, flickering vacancy sign. Smelled like old cigarettes and older regrets. The woman at the desk looked at us. Me in my borrowed jeans and expensive watch I forgot to leave behind. Him in tactical gear and fresh blood on his shoulder. And didn't blink. 1 room, Kade said, 1 night. Only got 1 room anyway, honey. Hurricane evacuations. You're lucky I got this. The room had 1 bed. Kade looked at it, then at the floor. I'll take the floor. That's ridiculous. I'm taking the floor, Priya. He said it in a voice that meant, don't argue. So I didn't. We had 4 hours before we could move again safely. 4 hours in a room with 1 bed, thin walls, and too much tension. I'm hungry, I said. What do you want? I don't know. You don't know what you want to eat? I've never ordered my own food before. He stared at me. Jesus. My nutritionist planned everything. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, measured portions, approved meals. You're 26 years old. I know. And you've never ordered your own food. Stop saying it like that. Like what? Like I'm pathetic. You're not pathetic. You're just... He sighed. Come on. Let's go to the gas station. You're choosing something. Anything you want. The gas station had a wall of chips and a sad rotating hot dog machine. I stood there, staring at options I'd never been allowed to consider. What do you like? Kade asked. I don't know. Okay, what have you wanted to try? Tacos, real tacos, not the kind my father's chef made with organic beef and microgreens. Gas station tacos. You dream big, princess. Priya. Priya. He bought me 3 gas station tacos, a bag of Doritos, and a Coke. We went back to the motel room. I sat on the bed and ate like someone who'd been starving, which, I realized, I had been. This is really good, I said around a mouthful of questionable beef and processed cheese. It's really terrible. I love it. He watched me eat with something almost like tenderness. You're easy to please. I'm hard to please. I've just never been allowed to try. When I finished, I felt sick and perfect. Full for the first time in years, not from food, from choice. Thank you, I said. For gas station tacos? For letting me choose. Something passed between us, something that made the air heavier. I need to shower, I said. I smell like swamp and gunpowder. Use whatever you need. I grabbed my duffel bag, realized it was covered in his blood from the bullet graze. All my clothes were ruined. I don't have anything clean. He pulled a black t-shirt from his bag. Wear this. It smelled like him. Clean sweat and gun oil, and something darker I couldn't name. I took it into the bathroom. The shower was lukewarm, and the water pressure was terrible. And it was the best shower of my life. Nobody timing me. Nobody checking to make sure I used the right products. Just me and cheap motel soap and freedom. When I came out wearing his t-shirt that fell to my thighs, Kade was on the floor with his medical kit, trying to properly treat his shoulder wound with 1 hand. Let me help, I said. You don't have to. I have medical training, my father insisted, in case I needed to help during business emergencies. What kind of business emergencies require medical training? The kind where questions aren't asked. He went quiet, gestured to the floor next to him. I sat, took the antiseptic and gauze. His shoulder was worse than I thought. The graze was deep, needed stitches probably. I cleaned it carefully, professionally, felt him tense under my hands. You're good at this, he said. I'm good at a lot of things I never wanted to be good at. I wrapped his shoulder in clean gauze, taped it securely. My hands lingered maybe longer than necessary. He caught my wrist. Not rough, just present. Why didn't you fight me harder? At the gas station, you could have screamed, made a scene. Because you're the first man who's touched me, who asked if I was okay after. I met his eyes. Even while kidnapping me. I'm not kidnapping you. Then what are you doing? Still figuring that out. We sat in the dark. I should have felt scared. Instead, I felt the safest I'd felt in years. "Tell me something true," I said. "About what?" "About you." He thought for a long moment. "I came to Miami at 15 because my mother died in the earthquake. I watched her die. It took 3 hours. I held her hand the whole time. When she finally stopped breathing, I left. Didn't look back. Couldn't. If I looked back, I'd see her everywhere. I'm sorry. Everyone's sorry. Nobody brings her back." "Is that why you became a smuggler? Because you were alone?" "I became a smuggler because I was good at moving through spaces people didn't see. Good at being invisible. Good at not asking questions." "You're not invisible to me." He looked at me. Really looked. "No? No. What do you see?" "Someone who's running from something, just like me." "We're both running from cages," he said quietly. "Yeah, except you can buy your way out. I have to earn it." "What if freedom isn't something you earn? What if you just take it?" He looked at me like I'd said something revolutionary and naive at once. "That how it works in your world?" "No, but maybe it should be." We sat there for a long time. At some point, I fell asleep against his good shoulder. When I woke up at 2 a.m., he'd covered me with the motel blanket and moved to the floor on the other side of the room, keeping distance, keeping safe. I hated him a little for it. At dawn, I found him in the Range Rover in the parking lot, treating his wound again. The gauze I'd applied was soaked through. "You're bleeding," I said. "It's fine." "It's not fine." I climbed into the cargo area. He didn't object. I redressed his shoulder in the dim light of the parking lot, surrounded by bulletproof glass and hurricane warnings on the radio. "Where are you actually taking me?" I asked while working. "Key West. Then a boat to the Bahamas. From there, wherever you want." "What if I want to stay with you?" His hand caught mine mid-bandage. "Priya, I'm not asking for promises. I'm asking for possibility." "Possibility of what?" "Of this not ending when we reach some coordinates on a map." He was quiet for too long. Then, "You don't know me. I know you've been shot at twice in 2 days because of me, and haven't complained once. I know you turned off my father's calls without being asked. I know you let me sit in the front seat. I know those are small things." "Small things are everything." He turned to look at me. We were close, too close in the confined space. His breath was warm on my face. My hands were still on his shoulder, on his skin. "We should go," he said, but he didn't move. "Kade, don't what? Don't look at me like that." "Like what?" "Like I'm someone worth keeping." "Maybe you are." "I'm not. He stopped, started again. "I'm a lot of things, Priya. But I'm not someone you build a life with. I'm someone you use to escape." "What if I don't want to escape anymore? What if I want to stop running?" "Then you picked the wrong driver?" He pulled away, climbed into the front seat, started the engine. I stayed in the cargo area for a long time, watching him through the rearview mirror, watching him watch the road, watching him not watch me. When we finally moved to safer roads and I climbed back into the passenger seat, something had shifted. He let his hand drift to my thigh when he took turns, just resting there, present, real. I didn't say anything, neither did he, but it felt like an answer to a question we weren't ready to ask yet. We reached Sugarloaf Key at sunset. The safe house Kade mentioned was a beach house on stilts, white paint peeling, palm trees leaning like drunk sentries, waves crashing loud enough to drown out thoughts. It looked abandoned. Perfect. "This is it?" I asked. "This is it? We'll stay here tonight, catch the boat tomorrow morning." I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. We climbed the wooden stairs. The house was sparse, furniture covered in sheets, kitchen that hadn't been used in months, but the view was incredible. Ocean stretching forever, sunset turning everything gold. "It's beautiful," I said. Kade was checking his phone, frowning. "What's wrong?" "Nothing, just checking in with my contact." "The boat captain?" "Yeah." He stepped outside to make a call. I watched him through the window, the way his shoulders tensed, the way he kept glancing back at the house. At me. Something felt wrong. When he came back in, his face was careful, too careful. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Fine. Boat's confirmed for 6 a.m. "Then why do you look like that?" "Like what?" "Like you're about to tell me bad news." "I'm not." He pulled me close, kissed my forehead. "Get some rest. Tomorrow's a long day." but I couldn't rest. The house felt wrong. The air felt wrong. Kade felt wrong. At midnight, I found him on the deck smoking a cigarette. I didn't know he smoked. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Something's wrong." "Nothing's wrong." "Don't lie to me, Kade." He took a long drag, let it out slow. "What do you want me to say, Priya?" "The truth." "You can't handle the truth. Try me." He looked at me. The moonlight made him beautiful and terrible. "What if I told you that everyone's using everyone? What if I told you that escape isn't real? It's just a prettier cage?" "What are you talking about?" "Nothing. I'm talking about nothing." But his phone buzzed. He silenced it fast, too fast. I grabbed it before he could stop me. Read the message. "Package must be delivered to Sokolov by midnight or deal is off. Your freedom expires with the deadline. Agent Morrison." I looked at him. At the man I'd trusted. At the man I'd... "Package," I said, voice flat, dead. "That's what I am to you." "Priya, how long have you been working for the FBI?" "It's not how long. Since Miami. Since your father hired them to find you." The world tilted. "My father hired the FBI?" "No, the FBI was investigating Sokolov. Your father's security mentioned you were running. They saw an opportunity. To use me as bait. To catch a trafficker. By trafficking me? It's not the same. Isn't it?" I was screaming now. Didn't care who heard. "You let me trust you. You let me..." I couldn't say it. Couldn't name what had happened between us. "You fucked me and you're giving me to him. I'm not giving you to anyone." "Then what's the plan, Kade? What happens at midnight?" He didn't answer. That was answer enough. Before the midnight deadline. Before the truth rotted everything. We had 1 hour that felt like forever. "Come with me," I said. "Where?" "The ocean, please." I don't know why he agreed. Maybe guilt, maybe something real. Maybe it didn't matter anymore. We walked to the water. I pulled off my jeans, his t-shirt I was still wearing, walked into the waves in my underwear like I was walking into oblivion. "When was the last time you did something just because it felt good?" I called back. He followed, fully clothed, didn't care, waded in until the water was chest high and caught me around the waist. "About 3 seconds ago, we kissed like drowning, like last chances, like people who knew better but chose disaster anyway." I wrapped my legs around his waist. He carried me back to shore, laid me down in the sand that was still warm from the day's sun. "I need you to know something," I gasped between kisses. "I trust you. I don't trust anyone, but I trust you." He froze. Those words cut him deeper than bullets. "Priya, don't talk. Just be here with me." We had sex on that beach like we were trying to outrun something. Fast, desperate, real. He was rough in ways that made me feel powerful. I was demanding in ways that made him weak. This wasn't gentle. This wasn't sweet. This was two people colliding like weather systems, creating something destructive and necessary. After, tangled in sand and salt and lies. "What happens next?" I asked. "We disappear." His voice was wrong, hollow. "Together." I knew he was lying. I chose to believe him anyway. I woke up at 11:17 p.m. to voices. Kade on the phone on the deck trying to be quiet. "Can't do it," he was saying. "She's not a package. She's a means to an end. So are you." A man's voice, cold. "Agent Morrison." "Make the drop." "Jean-Louis, you don't get another shot at this. He's trafficking her. That's the point. We catch him red-handed, you walk free. That was always the deal. You didn't tell me she was being sold against her will. Does it matter?" "Yes, it fucking matters. Don't get soft now. Car's outside. Sokolov's inside. You have 43 minutes. I looked through the window. Black Mercedes in the driveway. A man getting out. Older, expensive suit. Smile that made my skin crawl. Viktor Sokolov. My fiancé. My buyer. My nightmare. I understood everything in that moment. The safe house was a trap. The escape was a delivery. Kade was a transaction disguised as salvation. He came back inside, saw me standing there, saw that I knew. "Priya, don't. Let me explain." "Explain what? That you're just like my father? Just like Viktor? Just another man who thinks I'm property?" "It's not like that." "Then what's it like? Tell me. Make it make sense." He couldn't. Knock on the door. 3 sharp raps. Viktor's voice, honey smooth. "Rajesh said you'd have my delivery by midnight. I'm a punctual man, Mr. Jean-Louis. Kade looked at me, then at the door, then at his phone, where his freedom waited on the other side of betrayal. I'm not giving you to him, he said, then unlocked the door, let me leave. He didn't move. You're just like my father, I whispered. Just another cage. I'm trying to protect you. By selling me? By catching the man who buys women? I don't care about the FBI's case. I care that you lied to me. Viktor knocked again, harder. Kade, open the door. The girl, then your papers. Simple exchange. I looked around the room, saw Kade's gun on the kitchen counter, made a decision, grabbed it, pointed it at Kade, then at the door. My hands shook, but my voice didn't. No one owns me, not my father, not him, not you. Priya, don't drive now, or I will shoot you and drive myself. You don't know how. I fired at the wall. The sound was enormous. Viktor screamed outside, stumbled down the stairs. Try me, I said. Kade looked at me, at the gun, at the woman I'd become in 4 days. Okay, he said quietly. Okay, let's go. We ran. We were back in the Range Rover at 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before my delivery deadline. Priya in the passenger seat, gun in her lap, refusing to look at me. You have to trust me, I said. I did. Look where that got us. Bullets shattered the back window, not the bulletproof part. The small section Viktor's men had already weakened. She screamed. I yanked her down, one hand on her head protecting her, other hand steering through gunfire. Stay down! You don't get to protect me now. But she stayed down, and she hated herself for it. Viktor's men were behind us, black Mercedes gaining fast. My FBI handler was calling non-stop. I was burned. The operation was blown. I'd be arrested the second they found me. And ahead, blocking the road, another vehicle, white van, cartel. The men I'd betrayed 2 years ago had found me. We were boxed in. What do we do? Priya whispered. I looked at her. At the water on both sides of the overseas highway. At the Range Rover that was built for exactly this kind of stupid. Hold on. What? I jerked the wheel hard left, crashed through the guardrail, and drove us off the Card Sound Bridge into the bay. Impact, cold shock, water flooding in through the broken window. Priya was screaming. I was already unbuckling her, pulling her out, swimming toward shore through black water in panic. We collapsed in the mangroves, gasping, bleeding, covered in bay mud. Above us, Viktor's men were searching the bridge with flashlights, assuming we drowned. Perfect. In the dark, soaked, shaking, Priya finally broke. Why didn't you just give me up? You'd be free right now. Because you're not a fucking delivery, I was shouting now, raw, every wall gone. Because somewhere between Miami and here, I stopped seeing a job and started seeing you. Bullshit. You think I wrecked my life for bullshit? I just destroyed my only shot at clearing my name. For you, for some spoiled... She slapped me, hard. The sound echoed through the mangroves. Silence, except for helicopter searchlights in the distance. You want honest? I said, voice shaking. Here's honest. I was supposed to deliver you at that gas station, first stop. I had a dozen chances to hand you over and didn't. Want to know why? She was crying now, silent tears mixing with swamp water. Because when you bandaged my shoulder, you asked if I was okay. No one's asked me that in 8 years. Because you looked at me like I was human, not a criminal or a tool. Because when you fell asleep against my shoulder in the car, I thought, this is what peace feels like. Stop. No, you wanted truth. I'm a smuggler. I've run guns, drugs, people who paid me. I've done shit that means I don't get to be someone's hero. But then you make me want to be different. And I hate you for it. Because now I can't go back. She looked at me. Really looked. I don't want a hero. I wanted someone who chose me over everything else. Just once. I did choose you. That's why we're in a fucking swamp instead of me on a plane to a new life. You chose me too late. Maybe. But I'm choosing you now. And I'll keep choosing you until you believe it or tell me to go to hell. FBI helicopters found our position. Spotlights cutting through the dark. Agent Morrison threw a megaphone. Kade Jean-Louis, you're under arrest for obstruction of justice and aiding a fugitive. Viktor's men were being rounded up, but Viktor had escaped. And Rajesh Lal's private security was en route, called by the FBI to retrieve his daughter. We had minutes before they separated us forever. They're taking me back to my father, Priya whispered. Not if we run, right now. Into the Everglades, we disappear. You'll be a fugitive forever. I was always going to be. At least this way, I choose what I'm running toward. She looked at the helicopters, at me, at the impossible choice. I can't ask you to give up everything. You're not asking. I'm telling you. I'm with you, if you'll have me. Her father's voice from a different helicopter. Priya, Beta, come home. This man is using you. I'll forgive everything. Just come home. The word, forgive. Like she was the one who'd done wrong. I saw her face shudder. I have to go back. Priya, if I run, he'll hunt us both forever. He has resources we can't fight. So you're giving up. I'm surviving. Like you taught me. She started walking toward the FBI agents, hands raised. I grabbed her wrist. Not like this. There's no other way. There's always another way. But FBI agents were pulling us apart, cuffing me. The last thing I saw was her disappearing into her father's helicopter, back straight, face blank, like she was never alive at all. Father moved me to the Mumbai estate the day after my rescue. For my safety, 24-hour security, no phone, no internet, no contact with the outside world. My wedding to Viktor was rescheduled, 1 month away. Father insisted Viktor had forgiven the incident. Insisted I was lucky. Insisted I'd embarrassed him enough. I attended Bengali lessons, dress fittings, learned to smile like I was grateful. But I wasn't broken. I was planning. I'd been charming the guards, learning their schedules, stealing small things, a screwdriver here, a butter knife there, building an escape toolkit with whatever I could find. 3 weeks of playing the obedient daughter, 3 weeks of dying inside. Then one night, I found it. Taped under my dinner tray, a burner phone, one text message. Basement guard shift change is 3 a.m., car at North Gate. No driver this time. You're driving yourself. K. He found me. Across continents, through my father's security, through everything. He found me. They offered me a deal. Full confession, witness protection, new identity, new life. I took it. Then, immediately started working angles, called in every favor from my smuggling days. Found a Haitian journalist who owed me. Fed him Priya's story, billionaire selling daughter to known trafficker. The story went viral. International outrage. Rajesh Lal's business partners fleeing. Stock prices crashing. Viktor Sokolov wanted in 14 countries. My FBI handler, you sabotaged our case for a girl you knew for 3 days? Her name is Priya, and it was 4 days. I broke out of FBI custody twice. They moved me to maximum security. Didn't matter. I'd already arranged everything she needed. I made it to the car. Beat-up sedan, nothing like the Range Rover. Found the phone on the passenger seat. It rang immediately. Kade, drive. Questions later. I was crying, laughing, shaking. How did you? Turns out trafficking victims get international protection if they testify. Your story went viral. Your father can't touch you now without UN scrutiny. Where are you? Federal holding, but not for long. Don't do anything stupid. Too late. I escaped FBI custody to set up your escape. We're both felons now. Congratulations. I drove through Mumbai streets, guards shouting behind me. What have you done? What you did for me. Chose you over everything else. Kade, they'll add years to your sentence. Worth it, every second. Where do I go? Maldives, private island. Coordinates in the GPS. Boat waiting at the dock, captain's paid off. I'll meet you there in 72 hours. How? Smuggler, remember? I'm good at moving precious cargo. I was sobbing now, driving through red lights, not caring. I thought I lost you. You did? Then you haunted me so hard, I had to come back. I'd been waiting, half convinced he wouldn't come, that the FBI had caught him, that he'd changed his mind. Then at dawn, a speedboat. And there he was, thinner, bruised, limping, grinning like he'd won something. I ran into the surf. He caught me. We kissed like drowning, like coming home, like everything we'd lost and found. You're insane, I gasped. You're worth it. We're fugitives. We're free. We walked up the beach. He was limping badly. What happened? Jumped from a moving transport. Fractured ankle. Totally worth it. Kade, I need to tell you something. The FBI deal included my testimony against some old smuggling contacts. Dangerous people. They're looking for me now. So we keep running. For maybe the rest of our lives. No stability, no safety, just motion. I took his face in my hands. I spent 26 years in a cage made of gold. I'll take motion. Even with a criminal? Former criminal. We're reinventing ourselves, remember? What do you want to reinvent as? Someone who chooses her own life. What about you? Someone worthy of being chosen. We'd been moving. Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, always 2 steps ahead, always together. Priya worked remotely, using her business degree to help refugees navigate asylum systems. I consulted on security for human rights organizations, using my skills to help instead of harm. We were in our small apartment when her laptop pinged. News alert. Viktor Sokolov arrested in Prague. Rajesh Lal indicted for human trafficking conspiracy. It's over, she whispered. We can go home. Where's home? I asked. She looked around. Our tiny apartment, street food smells, motorbike horns, our clothes mixed in one small closet, my hand on her thigh, morning coffee shared. This, wherever you are. Careful, princess. That sounds like commitment. Don't call me. She stopped, smiled. Actually, I don't hate it anymore when you say it. Yeah? Yeah, because you see me. Not the name or the money or the cage, just me. I pulled her into my lap. For the record, I loved you at that gas station in Florida City, when you tried to run and couldn't, and you were so scared but wouldn't beg. I knew then. Knew what? That you were going to ruin me. Best thing that ever happened. She kissed me soft, slow. We ruined each other. Now let's build something better. Later, we were on a motorbike in Vietnamese traffic, her arms around my waist. Both of us laughing as we weaved through chaos. No armor, no bulletproof glass, no locked doors, just 2 people who traded safety for choice and found freedom in the fall.